How's it going, everybody? Johnny Guns Investigates. We've got Monday, January 15th. Month's almost going by already, guys. Hope you had a great weekend and ready to start a new week. So, everybody, grab yourself a nice cup of coffee, something you like to drink, and let's sit down and relax and have a great show tonight. Hope you guys enjoy. And thank you very much for watching the last show and the comments and also all the likes. Thank you very much, guys. Um, Tonight, we're going to go back to a story that we talked about a couple of times here over in Delphi, Indiana. This case is pretty harsh, guys. Richard Allen, the alleged murderer of those two beautiful little angels, Libby and Abby. 14 years old Libby and 13 years old Abby, that their lives were taken allegedly by Richard Allen in a small town of a little over 3,000 people, to where you think you can trust everybody and you can actually know everybody and think your kids are going to be okay to be out there alone. But it doesn't matter where you are or how safe you think you are. Crime happens everywhere. So, guys, sit back, relax. Johnny Guns Investigates. We're going to go over this story right now because it's hitting the news again pretty strong. Because as you saw on the thumbnail, is here we are comparing Richard Allen being treated the same way Hannibal Lecter was. The shackles, the mask, the handcuffs always to them, shackles, and his legs being shackled. Every time he meets with his attorneys, every time he's on the phone, walking to go down the stairs to eat, this guy is shackled and being treated like Hannibal Lecter. And I don't want you guys to make a mistake. That I understand he's an alleged murderer of these two little girls, but everybody has the right, by law, to, until proven innocent or guilty, we have to give him what he deserves in jail. A fair trial, treatment the same way everybody else is in this. Well, they have him in prison. He's not even being held in a jail, as we went over in my last show. They already have him in prison. He hasn't even been tried yet. Because I want to talk about today is and this is hard to say, but is there a lot of corruption in this town? As we know, Richard Allen was in the park the day that the girls had off from school, going back to the day of the murder, went to the Mahal Bridge to have a nice day in this beautiful park on the Long Bridge. And unfortunately, they ran into this alleged killer, Richard Allen, who lured them into the woods and over the ravine into another property to where another gentleman lived, to where the bodies were found, and brutally, guys, brutally murdered in a fashion, in a way that you can never imagine. Realistical cultural positions that the bodies were laid in and positioned, brutally stabbed and murdered to death. A gun was not involved. There was a gun that was found and a bullet found at the scene. No gun was used. All a weapon was the knife. Okay. And I do believe and understand the alleged murderer of Richard Allen lured those little girls down to this place to where other organizational cult members of this Odinism cult were, who did this murdering to these two girls. Richard Allen is accused. He's arrested, not accused. He's arrested for the alleged murders of these two girls. So they put him in jail. His being mistreated, he says. Every time the guards are around, they notice all these patches on their arms and all on their uniforms, which are state-issued uniforms of a cult, Odinism, symbols of a cult, organization of a white supremacist. And it's full in his prison. And he's being mistreated, is what he says, which we know it's happening. They're being watched. He's being watched as he speaks to his attorneys. He's being coached on what he can say. He's being in solitary confinement. He's sleeping on the floor, no mattress, being fed very lightly, as you can see in the picture from before and afters of what he looked like when he went in and what he looks like now. He's fading away to nothing. And I'm sure he's under a lot of pressure and stress, but hey, that's what alleged murderers get. But you have to be treated in an orderly fashion in the court system in the prison until you're proved either innocent or guilty. He's not being held in a local county jail. He's already in a prison and he wants to be moved out. And to me, there's definitely some corruption going on. I mean, now, as we know in the last story, this judge fired the attorneys, or they had to resign, however it is. These attorneys got shut out and fired from Richard Allen. Richard Allen, again, should be able to choose whatever attorneys that he wants to represent his case in a trial for. Richard Allen wants those attorneys back. And the attorneys that were both let go are willing to come back pro bono for Richard Allen, which we discussed before. And the judge is going totally against it. And that's the reason why. Why is she going against that? Why is there state employees with state uniforms issued with colt Odinism patches on the uniform? So Richard Allen fought to get out of that prison because of the mistreatment that he was being held there in that prison, saying the prison guards are mistreating him, abusing him, and nothing happening good there for him. He's just fading away to nothing. And that's what I'm trying to get at, guys. Again, we know these kids were killed in a realistical way, a cult organization killing these kids and leaving their bodies in the positions that they were in a satanic form, definitely by a cult. Is everything being covered up? Is Richard Allen being the fall guy? What's happening here? Who else is involved? Who's the other murderers? He's just not the only one. I guarantee you that, guys. Who are the others? Why are they mistreating him? What's going on? What's being covered up? Why are the attorneys that were fighting this long for him fired? Let's watch this video from Court TV, guys. Johnny Guns Investigates. We got a great night here, Monday night, January 15th. Beautiful out. We got a lot of cold weather, people freezing around the world here, around the country. We're even a little bit chilly here in Florida. So grab yourself a cup of coffee. We're going to watch this video, guys, and let's chat about this. What is going on in Delphi, Indiana, with this cult organization being able to lead and control what's happening here? Let's talk. What's happening? How in the hell are we able to have our cops, prison guards, wearing these organization patches from Odinism? A cult. And this isn't a good cult. There is no good cults. What's happening? Who did this to these little girls? What's being covered up? Who, else was involved with the alleged murderer, Richard Allen, who lived in that small town? Everybody knew him. Local pharmacist he worked at, is a pharmaceutical technician for years. Let's watch this video, guys, and then we'll chat, and then we'll see where it goes from there. And this is a great video, guys.
I'm Vinny Politan. Great to have you with us here on Closing Arguments on this Friday night. Let's begin with one of the biggest cases and trials that we're tracking right now. It was a mystery for many years. Now an arrest has been made. I'm talking about the Delphi murders. Abby Williams and Libby German. They were best friends. It was a day off from school. They decided to go outside to go for a hike. They went near the Monon High Bridge and disappeared. The next day they were found murdered. It was a brutal, brutal crime scene. Horrific. Investigators and prosecutors say that the killer is Richard Allen, this man. And he was able to control 2 victims because he had a gun, but he didn't use the gun to murder them. It was done with a knife. It was It was rough. There was a lot of strange things happening at that crime scene, and it was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. But now he's alleging terrible treatment as an inmate waiting for his trial. There's a skinnier picture of him. You can see how his looks have drastically changed since he's been incarcerated. But take a look at what his attorneys are saying now. Throughout our legal consultation, Mr. Allen remained uncomfortably and unnecessarily shackled and chained in a manner resembling Hannibal Lecter, while guards watched through glass panels and the door ajar. Mr. Allen clearly appeared intimidated by the guards and was hesitant to speak freely with counsel. Now, they are also saying, even if this court were to find that Mr. Allen's pre-trial treatment within the state prison system does not in itself justify moving him to a county jail, evidence is absolutely overwhelming that pretrial detainment in Wabash Valley Correctional Facility will seriously, if not fatally, impact counsel's ability to effectively represent Mr. Allen due to the sheer distance of travel and the unworkable visitation conditions. Counsel for Mr. Allen respectfully requests that he be transferred either to the Allen County Jail or the Adams County Jail. He's been in state prison, very unusual pre-trial. So let's take a look. These motions are being filed by his new attorneys. Take a look. These are the new attorneys representing Richard Allen, because that's another whole issue in this case. You've got William Librato and Robert Schremen. His former attorneys were tossed off of the case or resigned from the case. They say they were sort of pushed out by the judge, Andrew Baldwin and Brad Rosie. They both want back in on the case and will do it for free, okay? For free. And Richard Allen wants them on the case. And let's not forget something else that's been alleged by Richard Allen. Number one, that he's innocent. Number two, it was the Odinites or Odinists who actually committed this murder in a ritualistic killing. And while he was in the first correctional facility, some of the guards there were wearing Odinist patches and were intimidating him and coerced him into confessing to the murder to his wife, which was then recorded and is now being used as evidence against him. Now, his former attorneys made all these claims about the Odinites, Odinism, Norse religion, etc. But now his new attorneys are saying, yeah, we kind of agree. After reviewing crime scene photos and visiting Mr. Allen at Westville Correctional Facility, present counsel believes these claims have merit. Now, he's in a new place, right? So they got him out of the prison where the Odinites or Odinists or heathens, whatever they were wearing their patches. And guess what they came across, allegedly? Although none of the prison guards were wearing patches in support of Odinism, one of the guards did have a symbolic face tattoo of Odin's spear and multiple hand and finger tattoos emblematic of Odinism and/or Norse mythology. Are you kidding me? So he goes to one prison, he goes 200 miles away, and there's another Odinist as a guard in the prison? I don't know. Are there more Odinists than I know about? Apparently so. But are they attracted to being prison guards? I never heard this before. But these are the allegations. Matt Johnson, Court TV crime and justice correspondent, spent some time in Delphi recently, and with all this new knowledge that we have, took us back to the scene of the murders. Take a look.
We're here in Delphi, Indiana, a town of about 3,000 people. It is the town seat of Carroll County. And we're going to take you on the trail, on the Monon High Bridge Trail that Libby and Abby took in 2017 and how they made it to the bridge. That's not this bridge. This is Freedom Bridge, also mentioned in court documents. So where they started that day, that's a little bit up the road. Across from Mears Farms is what's called Mears Entrance, according to court documents. And it would have been the main entrance in 2017. This fence wouldn't have been here. This is where Kelsey said that she dropped off Libby and Abby on February 13th that year. She would have waved goodbye, said that she loved them, and then watched them walk past those trees. And once Libby and Abby cleared the trees, they had a choice to make. Right here in the center of the trail, they could choose to go right and go towards town, or they could choose to go left towards the bridge. They went left. This is also where three girls say that they ran into a man generally matching the suspect description. He was heading towards the bridge. They were heading the opposite direction towards town. You know, walking along the trail, you realize that there are a lot of places that someone could hide. Yes, it was a different season. This happened in February of 2017. So there wouldn't have been leaves on the trees, but there are a lot of trees, and it would have been very dense. According to court documents, at around 2 o'clock that same day, a witness said she saw a man on the bridge standing about 50 feet up, but he looked very different according to her account. Looked boyish, young, 20s, maybe 30s, no facial hair, and brown curly hair or poofy hair. And that's what led to the second sketch. So we're at about the halfway point of the Monon High Bridge here behind me in Delphi, Indiana. You can see I'm standing on a part that is rebuilt, looks completely different than the area that leads over to private property. About this area right here, that's where that Snapchat photo was taken, where Libby takes a picture of her friend Abby. The two girls, they were heading down the bridge south over to private property, and that's where the abduction happened.
Okay, so what's happening now? There's a big hearing, and you'll see it here on Court TV in front of the Supreme Court of Indiana. Cameras will be in there, and it's all about his defense team. His former attorneys looking for reinstatement. This is all happening on January 18th, okay? Reinstatement of the original defense team, Bradley, Rosie, and Andrew Baldwin. Richard Allen also looking to have the judge removed from the case. Judge Frangall removed from the case, and he wants his speedy trial. He wants a trial within 70 days. I mean, that trial was supposed to be happening right now. If the original attorneys did not get tossed off, that trial would be happening right now, and that's what Richard Allen wants. He doesn't like being in prison. He doesn't like hanging out with the Odinism guards, and he doesn't like being locked up, and he says he's innocent. I don't know if the jury's going to agree with him. But there's a lot happening with this case. It was a case that was very complicated to begin with, but is getting infinitely more complicated now. So let's try to get to the bottom of it. Let's bring in our think tank. Joining us tonight in Los Angeles, California, criminal defense attorney Laura Uretzian. Also with us in Columbia, South Carolina, criminal defense attorney and lawyer Lori on TikTok, Lori Murray. And in Washington, D.C., the attorney who represented Johnny Depp in his defamation case and fellow of the American College of Trial Lawyers, Ben Chu is with us. Great to see everyone tonight. Thank you for being here. Laura Uretzian, let's begin here. Do you want to talk about reinstatement of the lawyers? Do you want to talk about the Hannibal Lecter treatment in prison? Or do you want to talk about the Odinists?
Wow, they're all interesting. We can start with the reinstatement of the lawyers.
Okay.
We can start with that.
Go ahead. Should those lawyers be back in? They want to be in. They'll do it for free. Richard Allen wants them to represent him, but the judge found that they were not competent counsel.
Well, I'm not sure why she found them not competent, because my understanding is they were not the ones who leaked some of those the photos. Someone without their knowledge, someone in the office took photos and leaked them. The judge, my understanding is, coerced these attorneys. Well, the defendant has a right to a defense team or defense lawyer of his choice, especially now that they are pro bono and they're no longer appointed by the court. He's entitled to that. If he doesn't get back his attorneys, most likely the trial will not go within the time period that he wants it to go. He has speedy trial rights as well, other than just a right to attorneys of his choice. So then there's going to be some issues on appeal if he doesn't get his way. And my assessment is that most likely his lawyers will be back on the case.
All right, Lori Murray, you get Hannibal Lecter. What would it be like for you if you were going to represent someone in a double murder case, the most notorious case in the history of the state, perhaps, and your client is 200 miles away, and when you go see him, he's shackled, and you got to talk through the little thing?
First of all, I've never had that happen. I don't understand why he's in state custody instead of the county custody. If it's a safety issue, there are certainly ways in county jails to make sure that he is, segregated from anybody that might cause him harm. Obviously, somebody's causing him harm in the state facility, so there's a problem there. Driving that far to be able to see your client is extremely difficult. Having to make appointments is extremely difficult. And every time I've been in the state system, the shackles have been removed. I was at the jail today, even just, in the local jail, the shackles are removed. I don't understand why he's being treated the way he's being treated.
Ben Shu, you get Odinism. It's an ancient Nordic religion or belief. It predates Christianity. So he's in one prison and the guards are wearing the patches. He goes to a new prison and there's an allegation that one of the guards has the Odinism tattoos on his face and on his fingers. And the overall allegation is that the Odinists are the actual killers here. Some local group, cult, religious, whatever they are. I don't know exactly what to call them, but Odinism. Do you think there's something going on in Indiana? Is there anything to it? Is it a coincidence?
Vinny, I think it's bizarre, and I think there are too many coincidences to have it be a complete accident. I agree with Laura. I think they need to get him somewhere isolated and somewhere safe because, the prosecution would want, wouldn't want these issues to be raised at trial or on appeal.
Larry, do you think there's any to this? It's a conspiracy. They're alleging a conspiracy because it's not just, it's a group of people, a ritualistic killing, but then when he's imprisoned and he makes his confession on the phone to his wife, they say there were more Odinists that were intimidating him and forcing him into that confession, potentially. So do you think that's a tough sell? Do you think it could be the truth?
It all depends. I mean, if this is something that the people in the area have encountered, they have people in their families or neighbors or, just friends who are, who believe in or are Odinists or worship this Nordic god, then maybe it is something that they can sell. But if it's something, for example, in California, we hadn't heard about this. We don't know of any Odinists. I don't know of any. But again, if it's something common in the area, then and it's believable, then it's an easy story to sell. It would only be tough if it sounds bizarre to the people there. And if they can't come up with evidence, there might be something that this defense team has other than the allegations by their client, right? There's got to be something else, maybe the ritualistic form or the crime scene. It looks like it was a ritualistic type of murder. There's got to be more to it. If you can build it and you've got a good story, why not? You can try and sell it to the jury and they might believe it.
I didn't hear the word, it could be the truth, though. So selling reasonable doubt is different than finding the truth.
That's the way it is.
Should I keep that in my mind? Because I'm afraid here, because the investigators should have solved this way before 5 years. Everything that they used recently in this arrest was available to them back then. So that scares me. And then if you're throwing this out there as well, and it has any sort of traction, it's a problem for prosecutors. I just want the truth. I just want the truth.
Okay, guys, here we go. We are back. Hold on one second here. Oh, sorry about that, guys. So this is unbelievable. I mean, there's something going on in this town. This Odinism cult organization is I think a very big part of this murder of these two girls. Now, is Richard Allen innocent? Are they using him as the fall guy, like I said 2 shows ago? Is this the guy that they're trying to put the blame on? We do know that he was conversed into what he can say on the phone with his wife in the prison because he had the Odinism cult guard standing behind him, coaching him to what he can say and scaring this guy so bad because he's locked up in a place where you can't yell for help. What's going on in the prison? What's going on in this organization through the state, letting this happen with these cult members wearing facial tattoos now in the new prison that he's in? Now, isn't that enough to scare you? You move from the one prison because you're getting abused by these cult organization Odinism symbols. So now you're in your new prison 200 miles away, and here the prison guard you see, even worse, to have it on a facial tattoo of the patch and the symbols of this cult organization. You know, this guy is not being treated right. He's definitely being abused, and there's something going on. Just like this panel just said on Court TV, something's happening here. So now Richard Allen is wanting to, which we'll have here on January 18th. What's going to happen here? We're going to have a hearing coming up, which the hearing is going to be nothing about the murders. It's going to be getting him what he wants, his 2 attorneys that he wants back that want to come back pro bono. He wants the judge that's already assigned to this case that's been causing all this chaos to be removed from the trial and the hearing and everything. Removed from the whole case. There's definitely going to be more than one killer because, again, the girls took the path to the left, not the one to the right going to town. They went to the private property to where they were murdered. A witness did see a younger person standing on the bridge, the long bridge, did not look like Richard Allen. Had to have been in his 20s, this witness said, because he was up there watching it, and that's when it all took place, allegedly. The girls being brutally murdered and left in a satanic cultural positions. Unbelievable that they even had to go through something like that. So guys, Johnny Guns Investigates, Monday night, January 15th. Let's hit the like, subscribe. Let's chat about this. It's a sickening story because the longer this sits in the courts and in the system, the parents, the family, the good people in that town are suffering. Who murdered these 2 little girls? Who? Is there something going on in the prison? Let me know, guys. Is this organization so big in this town, in this area, that they're controlling the movement of this trial? Controlling Richard Allen like the puppet, mastering him what to say and do? Let's talk, guys. Johnny Guns Investigates. It's a wild story. It's been out there for so long. It's still going. Still hasn't even went to trial yet. The trial is supposed to be going on right now. But how can there be a trial when the judge fires the attorneys? We all know the pictures were leaked out. We know that was not the attorneys on a defense team leaking the pictures out. We know that was not the case, but the judge still fired them, still released them from the case. Richard Allen wants those 2 attorneys back on his case and wants the judge removed. That's what the hearing is going to be January 18th, which will be live. And we will have it on the show coming to you guys live. So you guys have a great night. Thank you so much for watching. Hit the like, subscribe. Let's chat about this story, guys. It's a sad one because the two little girls had to suffer so bad. And now these little girls still don't have closure in their little souls, and their parents are suffering because it's going on and on and on. Closure is the key. So guys, hit the like, subscribe. Let's chat about this. Have a great night. And you guys remember, be safe out there. Have a great night, guys.